Hello folks, this is KK Data, and what we've got for you today is the complete MonsterVerse timeline, right from the Permian-Triassic extinction event to the upcoming showdown, Godzilla vs. Kong. Now this timeline is of course in chronological order, so sit back and join us in our journey into the world of the MonsterVerse. 252,902,000 BC. Permian-Triassic extinction event. Godzilla is present at the impact site of an enormous meteorite, which wiped out 90% of all life. Godzilla and other titans enter hibernation for millions of years, only waking occasionally throughout history. 60,000 BC. Cave paintings of titans. 50,000 BC. The Kingdom of Atlantis was established. 30,000 BC. One of the ancient era's alpha predators, the creature mankind will one day know as Godzilla, makes its presence known in the region that will one day become France, its visage painted onto the walls of the Chauvet cave by primitive man. 12,000 BC. MOTHRA egg. The humans living around China during this time come into contact with MOTHRA for the very first time. 11,000 BC. MUTO Prime encounters DAGON. A colony of Phoenician travelers witness a battle between two ancient titans, the MUTO Prime, known as Jinsen Mushi, referred to by the civilization as an unclean thing, and Godzilla, dubbed Dagon, and believed to be the holy son of the goddess Ashera. Between 1000 and 500 BC, ancient Greece. Titanus Typhon and Titanus Scylla appear in Greek myths. 0 to 500 AD, pre-Columbian South America. Titanus behemoth origin. Behemoth's other name, Mapinguari, refers to an ape, sloth, Bigfoot-like cryptid in South American folklore, with mammoth fur. Behemoth resembles this, but with tusks and without the one eye or second mouth on his stomach that Mapinguari has. So it's strongly implied that sightings of the Mapinguari in South America are sightings of Behemoth, which is why the locals call him Mapinguari. 1100 AD. A surviving Godzilla, the last of its kind, is witnessed in ancient Japan, and his massive form is depicted on a choji-gira, or a scroll of frolicking animals created in the 12th century. 500 to 1500 AD. According to legend, Methuselah destroyed a village in Munich, then settled down to sleep on its wreckage, where a forest grew on him and he was assumed to be a mountain. 1502 AD. Godzilla makes a brief return to the surface, traveling through Europe and inspiring an artistic representation of his distinctive silhouette in a hopper etching created in Augsburg, Germany. 1802. First sightings of the Loch Ness Monster in Scotland. It later came to be dubbed Titanus Leviathan by Monarch. 1915. Albert Einstein formulates his general theory of relativity. This discovery will ultimately give rise to the splitting of the atom and the harnessing of nuclear energy as a weapon by mankind. Early 1930s, the Wanderer, a 19th century freighter, becomes shipwrecked on Skull Island. A temple to Kong, within which the story of the Skull Crawlers and Kong's war against them is preserved on painted rock faces, is constructed within its fractured hull, becoming a sacred place to the island's native Iwi people. 1941, December 7th. Japan launches a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, subsequently declaring war on the United States and Great Britain, drawing both nations into the Second World War. 1943, USS LAWTON incident. The naval steamer USS LAWTON comes under attack from an unknown force. The ship is clawed as if by a wild animal, quickly sinking and leaving only one survivor, future Monarch operative Bill Randa. The incident is quickly covered up by the U.S. government. 1944, Skull Island welcomes two outsiders. During World War II, U.S. pilot Hank Marlowe and Japanese pilot Gunpei Ikare engage in aerial combat and crash land on Skull Island as a result. The two soldiers fight throughout the unknown terrain and are only stopped when they meet Kong for the first time. Amazed at what they see, the two former enemies learn to become friends as they try to stay alive in the strange land. 1945, between January and August. Ishiro Serizawa, son of future Monarch operative EIJI SERIZAWA, and a leading member of the organization of the 21st century, is born. August 6, Hiroshima bombing. In the aftermath of the Hiroshima bombing, Ishiro SERIZAWA and his father C.A. SHINOMURA, who had been awakened by the radiation, with Godzilla following suit. Between August and December, EIJI SERIZAWA leaves his young son Ishiro with the infant's grandparents in Kyoto, seeking a job in the ruins of post-war Japan. He eventually joins the crew of a shipping vessel. 1946, formation of Monarch, a series of mysterious disappearances of U.S. Navy vessels, all part of the Pacific Fleet, prompts the gathering of scientists and researchers on the part of the U.S. government. Among these men are EIJI SERIZAWA, Shaw, and a handful of both Japanese and American witnesses to the attack of the mysterious monster. It's this creature and others like it that are blamed for the various U.S. ship disappearances, and with proof of their existence now incontrovertible, U.S. President Harry Truman officially establishes the Monarch Unit, the first joint U.S.-Japanese unit since the end of World War II, to investigate and combat these giants. Shortly after the foundation of Monarch, the flying creature, MUTO, appears over a power plant in Novosibirsk, Russia. SERIZAWA and Shaw are dispatched to interrogate witnesses. The flying monster, later designated as SHINOMURA for MUTO, returns a short time later, striking the Philippines. After its retreat, Monarch are able to collect what they believe is a severed limb from the monster. 1947. The flying monster again makes landfall, this time in Busselton, Australia. SERIZAWA begins to wonder why the creature retreats from its attacks so quickly. 1948. Monarch Unit 5 investigates Carmichael Caves, Site 4807, a suspected burrow site for a MUTO. 1948. SHINOMURA vs. Godzilla. The flying monster is seen again, this time on Monsta Island in the South Pacific. During interrogation, the natives claim a second monster arrived and chased the first one off, leaving giant footprints in the sand as evidence. 1949. SHINOMURA appears again in Rotorua, New Zealand, where residents once again claim a giant lizard that stood up like a man chased the creature back into the skies. 1950. SHINOMURA continues fighting Godzilla. The island of Yap receives a visit from both the flying monster and the mysterious second creature. SERIZAWA becomes more and more fascinated by the second beast, while Shaw becomes dismissive of the notion of its existence. After the flying monster is yet again chased off by the second beast, this time in Guam, SERIZAWA interrogates a witness who identifies the large monster as Godzilla. 1952. The Great Smog of London kills and injures several thousand people via air pollution. Monarch formulates the theory that the wings of a giant monster could have created an anticyclone which caused the event. 1952. Monarch recruits William Randa. 9 years after surviving the USS LAWTON incident, William Randa joins Monarch as assistant professor in cryptozoology. He spends the next 30 years trying to prove that his freak encounter was the result of a Titan. 1953. SHINOMURA cell discovered in the Philippines. Dr. Zamalek reveals his findings on the dismembered monster limb to SERIZAWA and Shaw, stating that the severed body part isn't a limb at all, but rather a single cell. Zamalek blasts the cell with a massive amount of radioactivity, increasing its size tenfold. Zamalek revels in the cell's power, stating that the flying monster is not, in fact, a single monster, but an aggregate creature, a colony of smaller, independent creatures moving and surviving as one. All this superorganism needs to regrow its entire colony from a single cell is radiation. Stunned, SERIZAWA dubs the creature SHINOMURA, or SHINOMURA, literally meaning swarm of death. Monarch HQ is destroyed as a result of the regenerative process, which sets free the second version of SHINOMURA on the world. 1954. Bikini Atoll bombing. Under the guise of a nuclear test, Operation Lucky Dragon officially commences. The Atomic Castle Bravo device is deployed at drop point Alpha 341. Gojira is seen to be swimming right into the trap. At the Bikini Atoll, the Castle Bravo nuclear device is detonated in an attempt to kill SHINOMURA and Godzilla, successfully killing the former while failing to do so to the latter. March 7th, Monarch creates the MUTO archive files, containing recorded data on various subjects and events. Survey H54 contains information on the subject of species 5146, aka Gojira. 1959, Monarch sightings. A Soviet spy plane takes a picture of an enormous containment facility around a Siberian ice cap with the Monarch logo on it. 1972, James Conrad rescue mission. Before he was recruited by Monarch, James Conrad performed a daring rescue in Da Nang the prior year. As an SAS tracker, he was responsible for rescuing 12 pilots during this single mission, which is what helped further put his name on the map. 1973, Monarch's first expedition of Skull Island. There they encounter numerous deadly wildlife, none more so than the gigantic ape known as Kong, although Kong is not the only Titan out there. June 12, 1981, Ishiro Serizawa joins Monarch. Serizawa is recruited by Monarch after his father, EIJI Serizawa's funeral. He agrees to join the organization and later becomes a vital part of the rest of their work moving forward. May 24, 1989, Rick Stanton joins Monarch. After spending his time with Landsat as a satellite mapping technician, Rick Stanton is recruited by Monarch to supervise their own satellite tracking systems. 1991, TITANUS Rodan. Monarch discovers a brand new Titan in TITANUS Rodan, and they soon establish a quarantine zone around Isla de Mona's volcano, which is where Rodan lies in pyrostasis. The zone soon expands to become one of Monarch's many containment facilities, later becoming known as Outpost 56, and they watch over the fire demon for the next 2+ decades. 1995, Aaron Brooks plans Antarctica trip. Over 20 years after his father, Houston Brooks, met Kong, Aaron Brooks plans an expedition to Antarctica. However, his true intention is going to Skull Island to see if the giant ape is actually still a friend to humanity. August 7, 1995, secret trip to Skull Island. In Monarch's second Skull Island expedition, Aaron Brooks recruits a cast of characters to join him on this secret mission and proves to have familiar results. They crash land on Skull Island just like the previous group, but Kong saves most of them by killing the attacking death jackals. July 17, 1996, Aaron Brooks remains on Skull Island. Although the trip was only supposed to last 3 days, Aaron Brooks and his team remain stranded on Skull Island for almost a year. Moreover, their attempts to leave resulted in major destruction of the local Iwi tribe, so Aaron decides to stay and help them rebuild. After documenting his experience with a voice recorder, he makes one final recording and sets a bag with them out to sea, hoping that his father will one day hear them. 1997, Ishiro Serizawa meets Vivian Graham. Fully integrated into Monarch, Ishiro Serizawa recruits another major member to their future during a visit to Oxford University. It's here that he meets Vivian Graham and begins to see her potential to help Monarch. 1999, giant fossil discovered in Philippines. Monarch discovers a giant animal fossil that was killed by parasitic spores after over 40 years of finding a SHINOMURA cell in the Philippines. Vivian Graham is sent here on her first assignment to examine the fossil and spores. There was a single spore that was dormant, which was soon moved to Yucca Mountain in Nevada for safekeeping and monitoring. However, the second and male spore already hatched and quickly set its course for the nearest source of radiation. 1999, Janjira incident. After the hatching of a male MUTO, a nuclear power plant is demolished by its frenzied feeding, killing Sandra Brody. The MUTO continues to absorb radioactive fuel for the next 15 years while cocooned in what is left of the power plant. Janjira is meanwhile established as a quarantine zone. 2005, Orca technology created. Orca is a revolutionary communication device that has the potential to speak to Titans. 2005, Alan Jonah is put on Monarch's radar. Monarch also learns of Alan Jonah in 2005 when he's caught attempting to infiltrate a MUTO dig site. May 4th, 2007, the Russells join Monarch officially. 2 years after being introduced to Monarch, Emma and Mark officially join the organization, who have high hopes for their Orca technology. May 10th, 2008. Eileen Chen joins Monarch. Monarch continues adding to its staff with the hire of Eileen Chen, who is a third-generation Monarch operative. An expert mythologist, Chen will make a major discovery for Monarch in the near future. 2009. MOTHRA cocoon discovered. Monarch researchers find an enormous temple deep within China's Yunnan province, with a colossal cocoon inside. Monarch builds another containment facility around MOTHRA, which becomes Monarch Outpost 61. July 12, 2012. Houston Brooks learns of his son's past. The day before he retires from Monarch, Houston Brooks is visited at Monarch Field Office Sigma and is alerted to Aaron's bag and recorder being found. Houston listens to the recordings the following day to learn of Aaron's adventure, and with some small sense of hope that he's still alive, teases he'll spend his retirement making a return trip to Skull Island. 2013. Ford deployed overseas. Learning to move on from the death of his mother and believing his dad to be insane, Ford Brody joins the Navy. He's deployed for 14 months to serve as an explosive ordnance disposal (EOD) technician. 2014. Godzilla vs. the MUTOs. The secret existence of giant monster is unveiled as 2 MUTOs clash with Godzilla in San Francisco. 2014. Mark Russell leaves Monarch. In the wake of Godzilla truly showing himself to the world, Monarch begins to rethink what Orca could be capable of. Mark Russell does not agree with the direction they intend to take the device and resigns from Monarch. January 1st, 2015. Diane Foster joins Monarch. A former Army Ranger, Monarch recruits Diane Foster to spearhead training of their operatives. She takes on only the best and brightest soldiers to form G-Team. February 3rd, 2015. Monarch expands military forces. With Foster leading the charge, Jackson Barnes, Anthony Martinez, and Lauren Griffin are soon hired to join G-Team. They each possess different skills that will make them useful to Foster in the team's daring missions to come. May 11th, 2015. New era of Monarch begins. Monarch hires Sam Coleman to help usher in a new era for the organization. He's tasked with helping declassify Monarch's documents and eventually begins new initiatives to further be transparent to the rest of the world. 2016. Ghidorah located in Antarctica. The latest major discovery for Monarch, they discover the 3-headed Ghidorah frozen in Antarctica. Vivian Graham leads the building project to create another containment facility around the biggest Titan they've ever documented. This facility later comes to be known as Outpost 32. 2019. All events pertaining to Godzilla, King of the Monsters take place. King Ghidorah awakens and enslaves the Titans into decimating the Earth and its ecosystems. After a lengthy battle in Boston, he's defeated by Godzilla. 2020, or rather 2021. Godzilla vs. Kong, the ultimate showdown. And with that, we're back into our world. Thanks for joining us in our ride. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you around next time with another new video. Peace.